Welcome to the ArmaniTalks podcast. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this podcast, I'm helping you level up your 5 soft skills: public speaking, storytelling, social dynamics, emotional intelligence, and creativity. 5 soft skills for you to change your life forever and skyrocket your confidence along the way. In today's episode, we're entering the world of social skills, and I'm going to be talking about the communication skills version of FOMO. FOMO means fear of missing out, but in this scenario, you've already missed out. Did you ever have that one moment when you had a conversation with someone, and then after the conversation, you think, dang, I should have said this instead? It could even happen in an interview. Let's say you're having this interview with this one gentleman. They ask you a question, you respond back, and then this person looks at you in a shocked way and then proceeds on with the interview. After this interview is done, what happens is that their shocked response is still in your mind, and you think, dang, I was so complicated with my language. I should have said this instead. And the remix to this is, I shouldn't have said this at all. Did you ever have a moment when you were interacting with someone, you felt a little too bold, and what happened was you said something that offended the other person? I'm sure you have. And whenever someone goes through an issue like that, one of the first things they think is, I really wish I had a do-over. And then they sulk in misery. They begin to think that they are the only person on the planet that is facing a problem like this. Well, Armani, are you telling me that this problem is routine? Yes. Even among great communicators, Armani? Especially among great communicators. Because the thing with great communicators is that they're consistently speaking to different people. They're challenging themselves to speak about different topics. And as they're experimenting like this, what happens is that plenty of times they are put in a position where they say something and then they regret it later. Or it's one of those situations where they felt as though they could have been more precise with their language. The biggest difference between an average communicator and a great communicator is their bounce back rate. Where the average communicator dwells on their mistake for a long time, the great ones have what I call the shruggability factor. They're capable of shrugging it off right after they make a mistake. They say, oh well, happens to the best of us. Then they proceed on regardless. That doesn't mean that they don't acknowledge the mistake. Acknowledging the mistake allows for a higher shruggability factor. Everyone makes mistakes. And when you acknowledge it, and you're thinking, it was going so well with this girl, and then I said this and she ghosted me, you acknowledge it. What happens is that your body feels strong sensations that initially feels uncomfortable, but in the future leads to better judgment. In the future, you're going to be able to spot nuances in body language in terms of the dynamics, the flow of the interaction that your past self couldn't have spotted. And when you acknowledge something, in the future, your judgment skyrockets in the process. Everyone goes through the communication skills FOMO, but where the average communicators desperately wish for a do-over button, the great communicators acknowledge their error and then they recalibrate better for the future. If you enjoyed today's talk and you want to learn more about social skills, be sure to check out my book, The Charisma King. Within this book, you will learn more about creating small talk, from bouncing back from awkward conversation mistakes, how to deal with social awkwardness and social anxiety, plus plenty of other topics that you have not ever seen in another book. Check out The Charisma King in the link in the description box, or go on ArmaniTalks.com and grab your copy today. Thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks podcast, and I'll catch you next time.